where people have to participate. If you try and dominate it, you're rude, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. But
I'm not going to say the word Twitter through the whole session. I swear to God.
You just did.
Too late.
But the thing is that we have created a medium that's absolutely natural for the people who are going to be using it in 15 years. What we have to be worried about is what's going to happen to us. So we're the ones that have to adapt. They're the ones that are going to be teaching us.
Lou, I have a bit of a contrarian perspective. I think that social media is making us antisocial. I think everyone has become a broadcaster. Nobody has become a listener, let alone a two-way communicator. I mean, what you and I and Kfir are doing here is rare. We're actually having a conversation using social media. We're talking back and forth to each other. But most people that I know who are using the T word or on Facebook or anywhere else, they just say what, or even blogging. People just have this constant stream of consciousness with no even, people have even lost the ability, especially kids, because I watch my 16-year-old nieces on Facebook. They don't have any awareness of what they might be saying, how it might impact other people, how they might look to other people. They just want to blah, 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 blah. And I think we've become the blah, blah, blah generation. I don't see anything good coming of it yet.
Well, not yet, but we're talking about 2025.
Well, what would change that? These habits are becoming, people are becoming little broadcasters at the age of 3 now. What changes them? What makes them conversational? You and I are conversational because we grew up having to be this way.
Well, there is another way of looking at it. I think that what we see is that while technology enables us to alienate ourselves from society, we use it more and more in order to stay together. Today we had a session, I'm just looking here at the agenda, we had a session something like 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, with the executive director of AT&T Lab called Alicia Abella that is working on a very interesting collaborative TV project. And even if you're looking at the small stuff, even if you're looking at how people are using social platforms while watching television, while watching regular linear content, you see that they are looking still for this living room experience, even though they have the ability to sit, and watch things with time shifting and place shifting and all those nice words that a lot of consultancy companies making tons of money of writing them. Okay, so these things are happening because this is fun. What we are doing is fun, and it's not because it reminds me of how I used to do, play in the backyard with my friends. It's because we are communicating and we are people, and that's hopefully not going to change in the year of 2025.
We should probably get to some questions here.
Yeah, I see that we have some questions coming in.
Yeah, okay, so here's a question from the audience that probably got to us through the T word, okay? I heard a piece on NPR, I'm just reading as they wrote it. I heard a piece on NPR where someone said that the new writing of phonetics is actually giving children very good understanding of English language. Do you agree, or do you think it is making children dumber for lack of better word?
That's a very interesting question, and actually that plays to the point I was making about the world not getting flat because we speak different languages and nothing really stops that. Even if, you and I both speak English, but we understand each other differently. It's my native language, it's not yours, so I think we have very different perspectives, even if we're using the same words. But I think the question is kind of hinting at internet speak, right? LOL speak, the kind of shorthand that people are using. And I do think that that's propagating a form of English. I've heard it called lolbonics, L-O-L bonics, in the popular culture. So it's teaching people a, if you will, subset of English, but I don't think it's a real way to communicate. I think kids that can say, well, can I has cheeseburger, are really speaking English the way you and I are speaking English. I don't think it's encouraging kids to speak English around the world in a useful way.
Well, I
Although
think,
it might be giving them some interest in the language. I don't know.
Well, I think what we're actually seeing here is what we were talking about earlier, how it's going to require people to actually take education in communication. Okay, not learning how to run a spreadsheet as much as learning how to operate a word processor. Okay, how to write, how to speak, how to have conversations. Okay, that's all, but that's not a technology issue. That's an education issue. The technology is there to make it happen, and I think within 15 years we're going to see the ability to use proper communication, and the strength will rise within those professions that will be able to use that properly. I don't plan to retire until I'm 90, maybe 100, because I think there's going to be there's going to be an opportunity for people to have an entirely new career in being real communicators.
We have basically 5 minutes till the end of the panel, so let's have a closing statement. If you have one thing, let's say that we have those kind of time travel boxes, you can put in the ground, and time capsules basically you can put in the ground, and then in the year 2025 people will open them. And we have the chief marketing officer and the head of the biggest media company in 2025 is going to open this time capsule, and we'll have 3 notes: one from you, Lou, one from you, Ida, and one from me. What, Lou? What would you write in your note? What will be your?
Congratulations, you survived.
I think. Go ahead, Lou.
We're in a period of real concern right now, not only economically, but trying to figure out how to use these new mediums. We're pioneers right now. The analogy I always like to use is we're standing on the top of the Sierras looking westward with a bunch of mountain men, and we're deciding where we're going to go. And we can go off in any direction, and we'll never see each other again for 20 years because there's so much to explore. That's the opportunity we have right now. We're explorers. There are no rules, like what's his name, Thomas Edison said. Hell, there are no rules here. We're trying to accomplish something. That's where we are. So,
I heard on my website.
That's where we are.
Well, I hope when we put that note in the time capsule that we don't use something like Twitter. I hope we don't use an iPad. I hope that we're smart enough to be technology and platform agnostic to our future marketeer, because I think in 15 years, how we communicate with each other is going to still be, into some cases, pen and paper. That's the one thing that's persisted for thousands of years in the human race. So I hope at least we have the sense not to give them a device that they can't read and the message from the past about the future. I fully suspect, too, that these marketeers will find themselves traveling on a plane far more than they do today, because if the world is going to be global, somebody's going to have to be out there trying to connect it, and the only way that's really, truly going to work is by people meeting each other face to face. And some of the tools we're using today will help make the connection, but for those connections to truly develop, you're going to see a lot of people traveling around. So I don't even know where to put the time capsule, where my core marketing VP will actually find it. He's going to be everywhere all at once.
For my note, we'll have something like, marketing sounds very, very complex, but at the end of the day, just talk to people. They really like it. It's not really relevant it's not really dependent on the platform and the technology. Just talk like you do with real people. And I hope it won't be an Android that will open it, because you won't understand what the hell I'm talking about. Thank you very, very much for being with us. I hope we're going to do it again very soon, because we are also thinking on making 2025 an ongoing effort, and it was a lot of fun. And again, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.